The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello, everyone. My name is Jolene Schaefer. I'm the Marketing Coordinator for SWK Technologies. I'd like to welcome you to our webinar, What's New in Sage 100 2019, presented by Aaron Oldiker-Mull of SWK Technologies. A little housekeeping before we get started. Everyone has been placed on mute to keep the background noise down. However, you can submit any questions you have throughout the webinar. To submit a question, look for the question section in your GoToWebinar. We will answer all questions at the end of the presentation. We are recording this presentation and it will be distributed tomorrow to all attendees as well as to those who registered but were not able to attend. Please take a moment at the end of the presentation to answer our 2-question survey. With that said, we appreciate you taking time out of your busy day to attend our webinar. We're here to help you get the most out of your software solutions and help you find an easier way to run your business by providing you software and industry knowledge, tools, and support whenever you need it. So whether you're here doing research for a new solution or you're just here to learn, we'd like to encourage you to ask any questions throughout the webinar. Lastly, as a quick reminder, SWK is constantly sharing important updates and software tips and tricks on our social media channels. So we encourage you to follow us on Twitter, LinkedIn, Facebook, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Without further ado, I'll hand it over to Aaron.
Hi, my name is, there we go.
You can see your screen, Aaron.
You can see my screen. Okay, perfect. My name is Aaron Oldaker, and I'm actually a senior consultant with SWK. We're going to go over what's new in 2019 with Sage 100, and we're going to do a demo. So we're going to just stay in Sage 100. Let's exit out of this. I'm going to jump right into Sage. So this is the new Sage platform. If you haven't been in it, started in 2016, 2017, okay? So first we're going to start off with the global updates. So one of the main things that I'd like to cover that a lot of people don't know about is automatically update a daily transaction register. So most people, if you're an admin user, you click off all those boxes in role maintenance, right? And you assume that you're going to get all the roles, all the tasks, everything in role maintenance. You have all the security rights. Well, if you do that, you're going to now have it automatically update the daily transaction register, which means it's no longer going to pop up that daily transaction register where it shows you what's going to hit the GL. So I've had clients who are like, well, where did it go? What happened to the daily transaction register? Where, why did it automatically post? So I like to point out to clients that you actually have to go into security events, okay? And under each module, under security events, you have to uncheck the allow automatic update of daily transaction register, okay? So that's gonna be under each module, accounts payable, accounts receivable, bill of materials, and so forth, whatever modules you do have. So that's a big one that I wanted to kind of focus on first. The next one I'd like to go into is a lot of the areas, most of the areas within Sage, you're going to have a place where it's links to Sage University. So for example, if we go into account maintenance in general ledger, there's this new button down at the bottom on the left-hand corner. And it's gonna, if you hover over it, it's gonna say Sage University. So if I click on it, it's gonna take me directly to the website, and it's going to give me information, or it's going to give me classes. Let's see if it goes out to it quick enough. So it's going to give you training courses on GL account maintenance, or if you're in, AP, so general ledger training package, general ledger processing, how to use account maintenance and so forth. So this is specific to whatever window that you're actually in. Okay, so this is on most of the screens within Sage. If you just hover over it and go over it. There are a lot of areas in Sage University that are free, and there's also some that are paid for. So it's nice if you just click on it and see if there's any free classes, but then there's also some that you're gonna have to pay for, okay? The next one is there's now a message that pops up for locked files. So I don't know if you've ever had a message that pops up that says there's a locked file. Well, now it actually tells you who's in the locked file and where they're in the file. so that now you can at least tell the person, hey, can you jump out of that module, jump out of that task that I can get in, and so forth, rather than just a locked file message and it's very vague. You also have custom lookups can be copied from users and companies. So if you've ever created a custom lookup for yourself in one company, so we're in item code, item maintenance, and we have, we have a custom view, let's say. Okay, and we're just going to make it default or not default. And we're going to add, you know, a few columns, extra columns here of information. So now we have a custom view. Well, this is my custom view that's only for my user, only for, so here's my view, here's my custom view. This is only for my user, for this company code. Well, if you want to make this global, let's say you want everyone in the company to have this exact same view, you can now copy that across the board. You can now copy that to other company codes as well. So the place that you're going to do that is you're actually going to come up here to Library Master, to User Lookup Wizard. Now, the difficult part, you might have to play around with this, is to know which table. There's a bunch of different places that you're going to have to know where to go, okay? So you might have to poke around a little bit. But for instance, I'm going to go here to, let's see, all inventory master list. So there we go. So I'm going to double click on this item list. Here's my item list that we wanted to do. Let's try that one more time. User Lookup Wizard. See an item. There's just so many options. Inventory master list. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to click on that. I can click down here on this button called copy, and now it gives me the option to say, okay, I want to copy this to which users. I want to say, okay, I want to copy it to all companies, let's say. I want to copy it to all users, let's say, and I can go across the board and copy it to everybody. Or I can just copy it for myself to all companies. Or I could just copy it to all users for one company. So that's a nice feature that they've added, because it is a pain to just create custom lookups for every single user. Another thing that they've added is spell checking. This is a good one. So spell checking. So one of the things, just like in Microsoft Word or Microsoft Outlook, they've added something, same idea. It underlines the word in red. So let's say I'm saying, okay, so obviously I spelled it wrong. It underlines it. I can right click it. It gives me a bunch of different options here, okay? I can also say ignore all if this is something you use in your company, or add to dictionary if this is something you use in your company often. If it's a word that you use, you can just say add to dictionary, so it always uses that. It ignores that word, and it adds that to the dictionary. You can say undo, and so forth, copy, paste, etc. Okay, so I'm going to just change it, beginning balance. There we go. So that's going to be used. You can also use that in memos. You can use that in comments. You can use that in memos, comments, and also in one more place. Memos and comments, actually, that's the two places that you can use it in. It's not going to show up in like customers' names. It's not going to show up in vendor names and so forth, because those are applicable only to your company, okay? So it's not going to show up there. They've rewritten some of the modules. So in 2018, they rewrote payroll and job cost modules. So they rewrote it to framework, which means it was in the old version, the back end was in an older version, and they rewrote it to this new version. So it's in the newer framework, which means the back end data looks similar to this new tables, as you can see. So it just looks more visibly the same, where the tabs are at the top. They've also in 2019 rewrote the work order module and the MRP module. And so work order and MRP, work order is now called production management. And this is actually a entirely different, almost instead of work order, it's now called work ticket numbers. So this is something you would implement rather than just switch over to, because it is a different process. It's not just something that you can easily switch over to from work order to production management. Okay, so definitely ask if this is something you want to see a demo on. I would ask your sales, your customer service rep about this. Okay, so the next one, Paperless Office. This is a big one. They've done a lot to Paperless Office. Paperless Office was something that was very minimal, but there was a lot of requests on things that people wanted to do on it. So one of the things that they've added, I don't know if anyone has used Task Scheduler, but in Task Scheduler, you have the ability to schedule tasks. You can schedule to run reports. You can schedule to post journals. Well, now you can schedule out emailing of printed reports. So let me show you what that looks like. So if you wanted to email out printed reports, we can go to, for instance, I'm going to schedule open sales orders, let's say. So open sales orders, open sales order report, and you can save it. So I'm going to do my ABC company. You have to type in your user login, okay? So it knows who's running it. You have to type in your Windows user login in case it freezes. Okay, now this is the part, the type. So these are the types of things you can do. So journals and registers, I can post journals and registers. Reports, this is what I want to do. I want to do a report, okay? You could schedule the job daily, start and end date. I want to do it monthly, weekly. I just want to do it once, okay? Start time, etc., every day, etc. Okay, so here's where it comes into play, where I'm going to choose what I want it to do. So I'm going to choose the sales order module. Here's all the tasks. These are all the reports that I can run. Okay, so I'm going to do the open sales order report. Now the report setting, you can pick just standard if you want, but I've created my own custom report setting. So my custom report setting is called sales order. I've modified my standard report. So I'm just going to click sales order. Now this default, the printer is going to be your default printer. So what you want to do, instead of the default printer, this is key, is you want to click Paperless Office, because that's where the Paperless Office, that's what's going to open up this email field. Okay, so email field is going to open up when you click on the printer as Paperless Office. Okay, there you go. And so then you just click accept, and this isn't going to work for me right now because I didn't enter something, but now it would be set so that all of this information is correct, and you can run this automatically. You can say run now just to test it, and so forth. And it will email out that report whatever day and time. So that's a nice feature that they've added, okay? So that's one of the Paperless Office, yes, so that's one of the Paperless Office tasks that they've added. So let's go into actual Paperless Office, that the module of things that they've added in, okay? So one of the things that they've added in is they've finally added in formatting of emails. So if you go down to electronic delivery, message maintenance, I don't know if you've ever done this or if you've created, you know, the standard emails. It's just basic, like you can't do any HTML, you can't do any formatting. It's just, you know, standard. Well, you're finally able to, you know, enter in this formatting. So for instance, I did one as an example. You can actually, you know, do bold, italic, you can do, you know, you can add in signatures, you can make colors, you know, so here's my fake signature and so forth. And so you can add in all this additional stuff, bullet points, and pretty much the sky's the limit here. I mean, you have a lot more things that you're able to do rather than just the basic, you know, this is what you were able to do before. Now you can at least do a little more. So you have the ability to format the emails, okay? Another one that they've added is new merge fields. So one of the examples, actually, let's see, is, let me show you a specific one. Customer forms SO, this one has a good merge field. So before, they didn't have as many merge fields. Now they have like ship date, they have bill to name, customer PO number. Before it was very limited, they had like just a few. So they've added some additional merge fields into some of these message maintenance. One of the other things they've added is you can add attachments. So now when you're sending out a sales order, when you're sending out an invoice, you're sending out a PO, let's say, you can add attachments to your email. So let's go into sales order. We're going to pretend like we're printing a sales order or emailing out that sales order. Okay, so here's my email, for example. Here's my print. I'm going to electronic deliver. I'm going to click on that paperless office, right? That little paperless office icon next to it. And now I have additional email attachments. So here's where I can go out and I can choose, okay, what do I want to, what files do I want to add in, right? I just want to add in, there's the Sage logo or something. So here I want to add in, and then I also have additional. I can add up to 6 different attachments if I wanted to do. So you can add in pictures, you can add in additional documents like backup documents for that specific sales order, that specific invoice, and so forth. You can send out that test email and just make sure that it gets out correctly. So that's a nice feature that they've added where you're able to add in attachments. So that's going to be in where you go into electronic delivery and you're actually printing the sales order, the invoice, the PO, and so forth. You have the ability now to CC or BC contacts before you were just able to send them out. So if you go out to AR customer maintenance, let's go to the first customer. Let's see what we got here. If you click on the paperless button, you can set it up. So email, you can set it up so you say contacts, and then you can say, okay, I want it to go to the recipient, but then I want to blind copy this guy, John. And then also additionally, I want to CC sales, let's say, so that the sales team always gets CC'd on it so that we know that that actually went out to the sales, that it actually went to Artie. But then John also was blind copied on it. Okay? Another thing that they've done is they've been able to, you can have a salesperson. So if you have a sales rep that is assigned to that customer, you can have them copied, carbon copied or blind copied on that as well. So if we go out to salesperson, I don't know, sales, it's under setup. Give me a second. Salesperson, I'm losing it here. Salesperson maintenance, there we go. Sometimes if it's hard to find, just type it in up here, search all tasks, and you can find it pretty easily because there's too many tasks around here sometimes. Okay, so salesperson maintenance. So if you go to a salesperson number over here, you can go to paperless and you can say, okay, I want to CC or I want to blind copy. What do you want to blind copy them? In the AR invoice, you want to blind copy them in the sales order invoice, whatever it is, and you check box each of those and you can say which ones you want, because if that Jim is assigned to a specific customer, you can specifically say you want to always CC him. So you can also, instead of having to go out to Paperless Office module and go and dig and try to find a specific in journal and register viewer and try to dig around and look for all these, I mean, I don't have a ton, but if you go and look for, you know, filter and try to look for a specific paperless file, okay, you can go and find it directly in the like invoice, you know, invoice history inquiry. I'm going to just show you an example. You can find it directly from there. This is just a general one, general ledger, okay? So for example, I'm going to account number. This is my transactions tab, and this was a transaction I posted, okay? So I know that I have posted this water bill. So I'm going to double click on it, and now I have this icon that popped up right here, okay? If I hover over it, it says Paperless Viewer. And if I click on it, it's now going to pop up and it's going to show me that Paperless Office transaction, okay? And so this works across the board. This is going to work anywhere. So anywhere that you've posted it could be a sales journal, it could be, you know, a general journal entry, it could be anywhere. So it's just easier if you're in that window, instead of having to go dig around and go back into Paperless, you can now just find it directly in that window. So that's the journal drill down. Okay, let's see. So let's go into GL and bank rec. So before, I don't know why they didn't do this all at the same time. In customer maintenance and vendor maintenance, they have the automatic, you know, drop down, autocomplete, you know, and so forth. Well, now they have that finally for the accounts, GL account numbers. So now I can start saying, okay, this is the description. So I can say, okay, what starts with PA? And this is the name, what's in the name, okay, of the GL account. So it's an easy way to find a GL number rather than having to click on the magnifying glass, going in and clicking on all that stuff, trying to find the GL account number. So it's easy to find the name of the GL account. That's a nice feature. One of the other ones, oh, this is my favorite actually. So is one-click journal entry reversal, one-click reverse journal entry. So if you've ever had done a huge journal entry, I don't know, even though 10 lines, and you realize that you did it the wrong way, and you have to reverse the whole thing, right? Now you can just click the button. You can click one button, and it will reverse it for you. So all you have to do is go out and find, let's just find a transaction. It could be anything. That looks like a fun one. This looks like a good one. Okay, so you go out and find this transaction was done and it's all wrong. It's in the opposite order, debits and credits are all wrong. Now you have this arrow, okay, this journal reversal. If you hover over it, journal reversal arrow, all you got to do is click on it. It tells you the reversal is complete. And it doesn't post it for you, okay? It says review the entry in general journal entry before updating. So now what we have to do, so this is, you know, source journal, SJ. Now we go into general journal. We don't want to post it. Wait, we don't want to post it. General journal entry. Okay, we can click on this. And we want to go reversal. Okay, so it tells me reversal of journal SJ13. Okay, so this is the one we just did. Oh, there we go. It's the reversal. Pretty easy. So now we've just reversed the entire thing. I can verify, I can make sure it looks good. Everything looks good. I can accept and I can post it. So you just saved a ton of time instead of having to re-enter the whole thing. This comes in handy when you're doing like a payroll entry or something like that. There's also in bank rec, there is multi-column sorting. So let's go down to bank rec. So if you have a ton of transactions in bank rec, let's go to bank rec. No, not bank reconciliation. I have so much to show you guys. Check deposit and adjustment. Okay, so this one has quite a bit, you know, of information, not a ton, but if you guys are having, you know, tons of, let's say, transactions, the payee name is like Staples or something, and you're trying to look for an amount for, you know, $1,000, and there's tons of there's tons of amounts and so forth. You have this button now, hover over this guy, sort columns. And if I click on it, I can say, okay, first I want to sort it ascending order by the payee name. Then I want to sort it by the amount, maybe. Then I want to sort it by, I don't know, check date, okay? And so it's going to go through and it will sort the columns in that order rather than just saying, oh, I want to sort it in this order, you know, one sorting option. So this comes in handy if you have tons and tons of payee names, the same ones, and you're trying to find, you know, a specific amount for that, you know, that specific date, let's say. There is something new that they came out with that's automated bank rec. So you can now connect your bank account to the bank rec module, and it will automatically do the bank rec for you. So what you have to do is there's some setup involved. What you have to do is you go to the bank code, so Security Pacific Checking. You click over here and you go to More, and you say Connect Bank Feeds. Now, I don't have a bank account to connect to this right now, but what it does is it goes out, you say Connect Bank Feeds, goes out, it says, okay, well, tell me what your bank is, log into your bank, okay, you set that up, and then it's going to populate, so you say Connect Bank Feeds, it connects this bank code to the bank. So now when you go to reconcile your bank, you have a new box down here that says reconcile, okay? And then over here, it adds a few fields. I wish I could show you, but it's hard to show if I don't have a bank. It has a few fields where it will automatically, you click on the button and it will automatically go through and show the transactions in the bank, and it will look at the transactions that's in your bank rec module, and it will mark off all of the matching transactions, and it will show you which ones came from the automated bank rec, which ones came from your bank. And if it doesn't come from there, it will add them in, so that when you do go through your bank rec, you can check off the ones that came from it. So that's a nice feature as well. Let's see, let's go down to inventory. So there's only a few things in inventory. We have, where is inventory? Okay. Physical count. In the physical count worksheet, they've now included inactive items. There we go. They've now included inactive items that you can either include or not include when you're running the physical count worksheet. So let's say you don't want to include it or you want to include. It can be either really long or it can be, you know, very short. Sure, we don't want to look at this. The other one we can do is when we're going through 19 pages, when we're going through the actual physical count entry, we now have a item inquiry. So let's say we're on this one line and we're doing the quantity counted. Now I have item inquiry. So I can click on that and I can see, okay, well, the system's telling me on hand I have 2,677 on PO, etc. And which warehouse are they in? So this may help you with when you're going through where the quantities are for this amount, so that when you do go through, you can see, you know, quantity counted. So that's going to be an inventory. Okay, so this is something that isn't new for Sage 2019 specifically, but a lot of people don't know about it, and I like to show people. a lot of people like to export from Crystal reports, any report, canned report from a module. They like to export it into Excel. And then they have a bunch of extra lines, they have a bunch of extra columns, and it's kind of a mess. And it takes a while to manipulate to get into some type of Excel type looking database that they can, use as a report, right? So they have something in one of the modules is Business Insights. There's a few things in here. The first one actually is a dashboard. So let's look at that real quick, actually. Dashboard. So this is useful for like managers, owners, okay, which I think is nifty kind of thing. So this is a quick way to look at the financials or look at the overall view of the company and where the company's at, top items, customers, vendors, financials, and so forth. So there's quick setup involved in this. This is in the Business Insights module, and we have an entire free webinar that you can check out, or we can send to you, or I can send to you, that shows you all of the options in how to set this up and how to set up the Explorer, which is I'm going to show you next. But going through it, it shows you all the charts and graphs. It shows you all the information as an overview, and how to find it. And it even shows you where it got that information from. So you can go directly to that report where this information came from. So I like to show people that if you don't know about that, that's something that does exist. So what I was talking about, if you're exporting information from Crystal reports and you're trying to push it into Excel and you're trying to play with it, manipulate it, this is something that comes in really useful. There is a ton of views, okay? So there's a ton of different views, and in each module, there's a folder called Explore at the very bottom, and it shows the views, okay? But you can also find those views in Business Insights, but let's say I'm going to start with General Ledger. We're going to look at this. So, for instance, we can go to Account Transactions View. So now it's going to go in and we're going to go into this other looking type program type thing. So this is Business Insights Explorer. Now, this area looks pretty similar to Excel, and it is. You have the ability to drag and drop things. I don't want that one, right? Okay, it's gone. I have the ability to drag and drop things. I have the ability to sort things. Let's say I want to sort this. I want to just look at this. I want to sort by, date, up and down. I want to sort by source journal maybe. Here's my debits and my credits. I mean, this is just for, GL, so it's very basic. This works really well in sales order or check history or any of those other areas that you may poke around in it. Look, you have the ability to add new columns if they don't already exist in here. Column settings, I can add additional columns. So all these, they're not checked off. You can add new columns. We can save this setting. So this is just the standard setting. So you can save a public setting or a private setting for yourself or for public. So here is the setting. So here's just a setting I had created before, for example. You can do charts. So I created a chart, based on different kinds of charts if you wanted to. I created a chart based on just transactions that I had, based on these numbers here, based on the GL accounts. So you can save those as well. And the great thing about this is you can easily export it to Excel. Now look how easy this is. Look at how easy it is. Hold on, it takes a second. Okay, there we go. So now we have the data in Excel. And now you can use this data just like what you're wanting to do with it before, okay? in Excel. You can do your pivot tables, you can sort it, you can filter it, you can do what you need to do. So you're pushing that data out to Excel. So the nice thing about this is you have this saved report, okay? So every time you come into Business Insights Explorer, you can click on this transactions report, and this is updated. It will have all of the new transactions in it. So it's not a static report, it's a dynamic report, right? So it will have all of the new transactions in it every time. So you can, every time you want to run this report, you come in here, it's updated, you push it out to Excel, you have your report. Perfect, we're good. So this is one of my favorite, things, because I love Excel, and so I like to kind of play with data in Excel, and it's hard to look at those reports that are in Crystal because they're kind of all messy and all over the place. But there is a webinar that's on our SWK site if you want to poke around there, and it's a whole hour's webinar and all the things you can do with this module. I mean, I just showed you the bare minimum. There's a ton of stuff you can do. So if that's something that's interesting to you, I would check it out. So let's close that. So I'm going to actually show you what is coming up. Let's go into PowerPoint. So I'm going to show you what's coming up in Sage 2020. So 2020 Sage just came out at the end of March. So 10 days ago, it was a little towards the end of March. And so we don't usually do upgrades for 2020, the very, very beginning. When it first comes out, we usually wait until the first product update because we don't want, you guys to be guinea pigs and have to deal with all the problems that may arise with the first, release, I guess you could say. I don't know when the first product update is going to come out, but I do want to show you some of the new features that are going to be with the new release. So one of the things is they're going to allow for international addresses and phone numbers. They've expanded the information for international addresses. They have expanded the name expansion from 30 to 50 characters. So that's like in customer names. They now have a utility to reverse check runs. That's great. So if you accidentally do a whole check run that's, the wrong date, instead of having to reverse every single one by one, you finally have a utility that you click on and it reverses the whole thing on its own. You can now apply multiple POs to one receipt of invoice or receipt of goods. Okay. You have now inventory. Inventory lot and serial has expiration dates now. So rather than modifying the system and adding in user-defined fields to get expiration dates in there, now Sage automatically has expiration date fields included with the system. One thing they've done, which some people might be bummed about, is they've changed it so that the classic desktop is retired. So the classic desktop is the one, this is called the standard desktop. The classic, which is the new modern looking desktop. The classic desktop is the one that is like the old view where it has the trees that expand on one side and then the tasks expand even more, that everyone's used to using. So they're actually retiring that. You're not allowed, they're no longer using that at all. And then the last one, or not the last one, these are just a few of the items that they've come out. There's a bunch of other ones that they've released information about within the last couple days, is e-invoice payments through Paya Connect. So Paya is what they used to have as their credit card processing, but e-invoice payments. So now when you can have a customer, they have this portal out on the web, and you can now have customers go out to this portal and pay their invoices. So it's pretty cool. I think we'll have a demo on it soon, but they can go out to this web portal, they can see their invoices, and they can pay their payments via credit card on the website, and it's through Paya Connect. I don't have much more information on that, and there is obviously a processing fee that goes along with it, but if you ask one of your TAMs, they can give you more information on the costs, and they can show you information on how it's involved and get a demo for you. But I have seen information on it. I haven't implemented it, obviously, because we haven't really seen 2020, but it is pretty cool from what I've seen. So that's a great new feature that they've had. So pretty much those are the new features of 2020, and those were the features of 2019. So pretty much that is what I've got. Does anybody have questions?
Thank you, Erin. We'll now open it up for questions. If you have any questions, please enter them into the question section of your GoToWebinar, and we'll give that a minute in case any come through. And just a reminder, everyone, we do have a subject matter expert here. This is a great opportunity to have your questions answered in real time. And it looks like we do have a couple that have come through, Erin. So the first one is there a way to tell who was in a batch, i.e. SO, invoice entry, receipt of goods, etc.?
Not yet, but that is a good idea. There is a way to make recommendations to Sage. When you first log into Sage, there's a way you can make recommendations, but there's not. Oh, actually, in Master Console, you have to have access to it. You have to have access to it, but if you go, there's an icon on the top of Sage. Let me see if this answers your question. There's something called Master Console, and in here it tells you what computer station, it tells you the user, company code, etc., and then it tells you the program. So it tells you, like, if you're in like a specific, it tells you what they would be in, like, but it wouldn't tell you the specific batch. That's the only thing. It would tell you what they're in, like if they're in invoice data entry. But then it should tell you if you have admin rights, you should be able to see who's in what batch. Does that answer your question?
I think it does. We'll wait to see if we hear anything back. But our next question is there a way in Sage 2019, wait, it just jumped, apologize. Is there a way in Sage 2019 to change a salesperson on an invoice after the invoice has been posted?
To change a what?
To change a salesperson on the invoice.
Let me think about that. No, you would have to reverse the invoice with the credit memo and then redo it, unfortunately. It's not something you can just do an invoice change with, because it's been fully processed against that salesperson.
Okay. And then the next question we have is, can you reverse an AP entry also?
Yeah, you can do a debit memo or credit memo against the AP invoice.
Okay, perfect. And then we have one that says, can finance charges be added to each invoice?
Yes, you can set up finance charges in AR. There's a section in AR. Let's go down here and show you real quick. If you go to setup, accounts receivable, here's finance charges section. This is where you can set up finance charges. Is this answering your question, where you would set up finance charges and it would go across, it would go for like aging categories for calculation? Or are you wondering if it would be specific to each invoice, whichever invoice you choose? I guess that would be the question. Would it be like a one-off?
We'll give that a minute. Oh, she says invoices.
Yeah, this would be an invoice.
Okay. And then we have a question that says, I noticed the module list showed the new production management as well as sales order. We are preparing an update to update this with George. We are heavy users of SO. What do we need to do to prepare our data for production management, or should we just use sales order?
Could you repeat that?
Yep. I noticed the module list showed the new production management as well as sales orders. We are preparing to update this with George. We are heavy users of SO. What do we need to do to prepare our data for production management, or should we just use sales order?
Well, you're going to continue to use sales orders, and production management is going to be separate. Those are going to be separate from sales orders specifically. If you are using job ops so production management is going to be for make to order, whereas so it doesn't go through sales order. It would just be within, it's just like the work order module. You would be doing it through the work tickets rather than through sales orders.
They responded that they don't do made to order.
Oh, make to stock. I'm sorry, it's make to stock.
Okay. They also do not do made to stock.
Do you want to give them my email address, or and we can discuss it, or they can talk with George about it specifically?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll follow up with you at the end of the webinar and send over Aaron and George's email address to clarify.
Okay, perfect.
Well, thank you so much, Aaron, for your informative presentation, for taking the time to be here today. A note for our audience, we will be sending out a link to SWK's Business Survival Guide along with the webinar recording tomorrow afternoon. This is an excellent resource for best practices for working remotely in light of everything that is going on. For those who registered but were not able to attend, please reach out to your CAM or to SWK directly for access to the Business Survival Guide. Thank you so much for your time today. Have a wonderful rest of your day.